Welcome to yet another episode of Frequency Shift, the visual and auditory experience that is dedicated to shifting your frequency one conversation at a time. So let's get into the concept of thought. What is thought? These things that pop up in our heads, they come and they go. Some are negative, some are positive. And sometimes we don't even know what we're thinking and we're just on autopilot. Most of us are usually on autopilot. We're doing multiple things throughout the day and we're thinking about so many different things. But we don't always use our thoughts in an intentional purpose. And that's what I want to talk about today. So I started getting into the concept of thought and the power of shifting your frequency through I think the first book I read about your thoughts, so I think it was like The Secret. And I'm sure a lot of you out there listening and watching have heard about The Secret. And in The Secret, it talks about the law of attraction. What you put out into the universe comes back to you. But it's a little bit deeper than that. It's a little bit deeper than having a thought and that thought coming back or manifesting. I believe that there are different aspects to making sure that these things come into being. So when we go into thought breaks down into sound, right? Whether it's the thought that you speak out verbally or the thought that you have in your mind, it still breaks down to sound. And what I've come to realize, and if you take the time to look and search, you'll see that all thought and all things break down into sound waves. And sound makes up every single thing around you. There is nothing that exists around you without, the vibration of sound. And that's the next thing I want to get into, is that sound breaks down into vibration. Everything that exists had to first go through the thought process, had to exist in the thought realm before it existed into the physical manifestation of reality. For example, this microphone right here that is capturing my vibrations and my voice was first a thought, a concept created in someone's mind, and that person believed in that concept so much that they figured out a way to make it become a reality. Now, my production team and I decided we needed this microphone in order to make this podcast a reality. So we purchased the microphone. And everything that you come across in your life is the product of a thought that was manifested into the physical realm based upon action. Okay? So it's first comes the thought, then comes the belief that the thought is possible. And when a human being has enough conviction and belief in the thought, that thought has no choice but to mold itself into reality. Because what then happens is we start to make action and we start to make moves based upon our conviction on that thought, right? And then we bring it into reality. So now, whether that thought is what you deem a good thought or a bad thought, it's completely up to you. So, like I said before, we often are on autopilot when it comes to thinking. We'll get up in the morning, we'll rush, to get things done, get out the door, driving to work, making sure we're not late and getting breakfast or whatever it is. We are so bombarded throughout the day, and 9 times out of 10, we are operating through the subconscious monkey mind. And I found that through, different practices of really being in tune with your thoughts, you really get to see what it is that you've been creating. Because unless a person is aware of their thoughts, they're just living life on autopilot and on a rampant. And you're creating stuff that you don't want. So, for example, let's say that you've been thinking of starting a new career path, a new dream, doing something that you really, really love. And it's a thought that first was planted as a seed, right? But every seed needs to be watered in order for it to grow. So if you're a person and you have a dream and you have a thought of a dream, the seed is planted. Now, the next step is for you to consistently feed that seed with nourishing water, nutrient, so that it can grow and flourish into the next level, which is the action stage. However, if you have that dream and you then have a thought that says, this is not possible, I don't know how I'm going to make this happen, I don't have the resources, I don't have this, I don't have that, and what you start doing is you start planting other seeds, or I would like to call these weeds. You start planting weeds and all these things around your new seed, and then they suffocate it. And then you believe it because you've told yourself it over and over again that you cannot do it. And there's so many obstacles in your way because you are convicted, you have so much conviction in that thought that there's so many obstacles to your path. Those obstacles have no choice but to present themselves to you. And when you put out that type of frequency, that vibration into the universe, it has no choice but to bring it right back to you, because you're an input. I always say frequency tower because it really is true. Your body is definitely full. It's an electromagnetic system, and we put out waves and we receive waves based upon what we're putting out there. So you told yourself that it wasn't possible. You were absolutely correct, because no one can tell you what is possible or not. Only you can do that. Then you have person B, on the other hand. Person B has a dream of opening a bakery. Person B has the skill of being a baker, but has no business skill, has no knowledge on how to get started. But person B says, I have this dream. I know it's possible. I don't know how to get there right now, but let me figure it out. So person B decides either they're going to ask some friends that they know that has a bakery or has a successful restaurant, and ask them like, hey, I'm interested in getting into, opening up my own bakery. And I know you're doing this and you've been doing it for a while. Well, can you give me some advice, and how do you get it done? Or if they don't have anybody in the fields of what they want to do, they go on the World Wide Web, the internet, free knowledge, and they Google how to open your own bakery. Guess what? Floods and floods and floods of articles and information comes, and they take the time and they research and they take the next steps necessary. So you see the two types of people here. You have one who had the dream and then found all the different reasons why it couldn't occur. Then you had one who had the dream and said, okay, well, I have the skill to get it started, but I don't know what the other steps are. Let me ask and let me find out. Let me go seek. Two types of people, and both of them are completely correct in their thought process. You have to decide which person you are. Are you the person who has a thought and combats it with everything that could go wrong? Or are you the person who has a thought and tries to find a way to make it happen? It's not enough for us to just think about what we want in life. We have to have enough conviction to make us spring into action. And that's the only way true manifestation occurs. So when I say the first time I came across, the concept of your thoughts and your words bring things into your reality, it's not just you having the thought and sitting on it and say, okay, this is just going to drop from the sky. Some cases it does, but 9 times out of 10, you have to make some type of action for it to do so. So you take action. And when you take action, there's another thing that happens that you have to go further than that. And you have to constantly reassure yourself that you're going to get to your destination. And that, I would say, it could be the most toughest part of it, because you can get started and then person B can, be the person who's going forward to it, and then end up like person A when they reach their first obstacle or roadblock and say, oh no, this is it. This is too much for me. I can't do it. And they can just stop there. But there's a third type of person, and the type of person who is consistent and persistent. Consistent and persistent. They're both the same thing, right? But hey, just want to stress that to you. So there's that person who, no matter how many times they fall, they tell themselves, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing this. And every time they fell, a lesson was learned. Okay, this didn't work out like this, the way that I wanted to, but it gave me a lesson, and it's going to help me propel the next time I go at it. So you have the person who just keeps going, fail. There is no failure, guys. I told you guys last episode, there's no such thing as failure, only lessons, right? You learn the L's and you use that to get your W's. 2 L's, W's, win. And so what will help you to continue to go is the power of the word. The word that comes out of your mouth. The frequency and the vibration that you speak into existence. It's what is going to break you down, which is going to rip apart your seed and destroy it and make it decay. Or it's going to be the nourishing water, the nourishment that your dream and your goals and your passions need to reach the next level. Because whether you tell yourself you can't or whether you tell yourself you can, you are absolutely correct, because you are the one who, make those decisions for your life, and you act upon what we think. So one thing that has helped me along my journey that I want to share with you guys is the power of positive affirmations. Okay. So during a period of time when I was in my dark space, I decided that I was going to pick up a notebook and write down positive things to myself, because I was feeling so disgusting and icky on the inside because of all my external circumstances that was going on. I had to remind myself continuously that those outside circumstances did not define me, and it was only for this period of time, and that I was still beautiful and resilient and worth it. And it's only when we start telling ourselves those things over and over and over again that a new level of wording starts to replay in our mind, because our brain works off of repetition. They say if you spend about, I don't know how many hours, I don't want to lie, but there's a certain amount of hours that if you spend on a certain skill, it's like an automatic reflex in your brain. The same thing with words. If you're a person who grew up hearing a lot of negative words, you're going to have to do a lot of rewiring and retraining your brain through positive affirmations. You're going to have to surround yourself around people who think in a positive manner, who speak positively. You're going to have to watch a lot of positive programming to just retrain yourself. Okay? And so when you start saying positive affirmations, right? Like I said to you guys, I started a whole notebook of positive affirmations for self-love, to myself, positive affirmations for financial success, positive affirmations for my internal growth and my spirituality. Like all of I made it a very important part of my life. And every morning after meditation, I read my affirmations before doing anything in the day, because I have to constantly remind myself. I have to constantly speak what I want into existence as I actively work on what I want into existence. The word and action go hand in hand. And if you're religious or you're spiritual or you're on any type of path, you'll see that if you go back to, the ancient texts, it always says the same thing, that the power of the tongue is powerful. And when I used to see that, I'm like, I'm seeing this everywhere. In these different religions, it's the same thing. The word, what you speak, comes into existence. What you speak. And then when I went into looking into the metaphysical aspects of, and then the quantum physics and seeing that everything that exists at a specific frequency and vibration, I'm like, this thing is not just something that's in a fairy tale. This is something that's actually real, and most people don't realize what they're doing and what frequency they have tapped themselves into on a daily basis. And so, like I said before on the other episodes, like literally it wasn't until I started shifting my mindset, it wasn't until I started shifting my thoughts and making sure that I only speak and declare things that I want to see exist. And now my mind is trained to a point where if I start having a thought, or if I start having a thought that's like bringing me down or lowering me or limiting myself, there's another aspect of myself that kicks in and combats that. And I really truly believe that it has been through my positive affirmations and constantly reassuring myself. And I don't just do that for myself. The people who are close to me will say the same thing about me. I don't allow the people around me to speak negatively into their lives. I don't care if you have $0 in your bank account. You are not to say, I am broke. The fact that I am is the first and foremost, the statement I am. It's the most powerful declaration that you can ever make. I am. And then if you follow that with a negative term, a lower frequency, I am broke, you have declared upon yourself that circumstance. So guess what's going to happen? You are going to continuously have circumstances that pop up that bring that to the forefront, because the universe has no choice but to make what you say come into being. No choice but to make what you say come into being. If you say, I am rich, I am wealthy, money comes to me easily, I am successful, I am loved, I forgive myself for everything that has ever happened in my life. I forgive those who have hurt me. I forgive myself for those who I have hurt. You're speaking a different type of language to yourself, and you're putting yourself in that frame of a reconstruction and a rebirth. And that's something that I had to do over and over and over again. And it's so funny because there is a part in my affirmation book, right, that I wrote to myself, and I said, there may be times when I find it hard to read these affirmations. I must find the strength to read these affirmations during this time, because it is during times like these that my faith is being tried, that my power is being pushed and tested. And I am capable of pushing through each and every time. Fear and doubt do not live here. They visit to test me, but I know what I am always capable of. I am more than a conqueror. It is not only time to fly, but time to soar. I love myself unconditionally. Metamorphosis. And the reason why I wrote that to myself in my book of affirmations was because there were days when I was going through my battles and my struggles that I would try to read my affirmations with tears flowing down my eyes, because I just didn't feel good inside. And I didn't want to. I'm just like, I'm reading this to myself. I don't even believe what I'm reading. But something was just like, Sammy, you have to read this anyway. And you need to read this, because it's during this time, this very moment that you're at your low, that you need to read these words to yourself. And every time I would read it, during the times that I didn't feel like it, my spirit would instantly be lifted after. And I would understand, like, yeah, I definitely needed to stay consistent on this. So I just want you guys to realize, and this is very important, because if you ever look at anyone who is successful in life, and is not to say that they're not going through problems, it's not saying that they don't go through issues, that they don't have ups and downs, because everyone on this planet does. We all do. We are human. We are going through the human experience together. And it's not easy for any of us. I don't care what you see out there, right? But the difference between those who make it and those who keep going is the resilience that those who keep going have. There's something within them that knows that everything is going to eventually be okay if they continue to keep going. So today, I want you, after listening to this, I hope you take the challenge to even start with writing 10 things to yourself, 10 declarations to yourself that you want to see manifest in your life, whether it be within your self-healing, whether it be in your finances, your relationship with others, your relationship with yourself. I want you to write 10 declarations to yourself. And I want you to make a promise to yourself that you will read that every day, even on days that you don't feel like it. And what I promise you is what you will notice is slight changes will begin to take place. And when those changes start to take place, you'll notice that what you're saying is actually working because the part of your brain that is hearing it is now acting upon it. And you're moving into a different manner and you're moving to a different frequency. And when you align yourself with the thoughts and the actions and the words that you want to see occur, the things that you want to see occur, when you put yourself into alignment with those things come and flow into your life with ease. And it's not saying that you're not going to reach obstacles. Obstacles will come. But during the time that obstacles come, it's important for you to kick out the weeds of doubt and replace it with your positive affirmation over and over again. Act upon your affirmations over and over again and continue to speak the words which you want to see manifest in your life. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And may your thoughts be positive. May your words line up with what you want to see. And may your actions take the steps to the next level of your life. If you love this podcast today, tell a friend to tell a friend that there's a frequency shift here. And tune in and leave a comment for me on my Instagram. I definitely want to hear you guys' feedback. Until next time, guys, peace, love, and light. I love you all.